Hey everybody, it's Friday, May 24th. Let's talk PlayStation. Now, before we get into the main topic of this video, let's cover up some of the PlayStation stuff that happened before May 21st, if you know what I'm talking about. Killzone Mercenary for PS Vita. The release date has been moved up a week, so it's not going to compete with Grand Theft Auto 5, obviously. I can't believe they did that in the first place, but now the date's been moved up, so it makes sense, so now we're going to get it earlier. You can expect the game September 10th in the US and September 4th in Europe. So apparently Sony India had a product listing for the PlayStation 4 on their website with a price and an actual amount of gigabytes. They listed it for £400 and 250 gigabytes. Now, what makes this news story a little bit sketchy is that they didn't get any screen grabs of the actual website, so it's kind of a rumor, kind of a grain of salt, but it was picked up by NeoGAF and a couple other random websites, but people are saying that's what was there. Now, for US people, £400 roughly translates to $513 US, which is alarming at first, but I mean, keep in mind, usually when Sony releases products in both of these territories, they're the same price, and you know, translation doesn't work there. PS Vita came out in the US at $250, and it came out £250 in Europe, so in that respect, that would sort of hint at the PS4 coming out at $400 US in America. Again, this is a rumor, and since we don't have screenshots, we should take this with a grain of salt, but it does kind of make sense, because as we've said, $400 would be a pretty good sweet point for the PS4. Some people are saying the gigabyte amount of storage is too low, 250 gigabytes, which is pretty low, but if Sony does continue their trend of, you know, allowing you to swap out the hard drive in the PS4, then, you know, it wouldn't be too much of a problem. But let's get away from some unofficial stuff and talk about some, you know, official stuff. If you know, this week, you know, Microsoft revealed the next Xbox May 21st, but the day before that, Sony released this little teaser on YouTube, which basically teases the PlayStation 4's actual look, the actual console. Now, it's only 30 seconds, and it's really fast, and it's really close-up macro shots of the system. We can only see very small details about it, but obviously, you can tell that it has a lot of vents, obviously. The system's going to need some ventilation. It shows the camera, shows the touchpad. There's really, again, not a whole lot we can talk about here. What we can talk about is the fact that Sony basically trolled Microsoft in that respect by posting this thing on YouTube. I mean, it's sitting at close to, I think, over 5 million views now at this point. And the day before Microsoft's conference, Twitter and the whole internet was pretty much ablaze, you know. It's just that thing that Sony was trying to do, you know. They're trying to get PS4 in people's minds. Now, at the end of the video, Sony's basically promising that E3 June 10th, they are going to show the system design, which is good. We'll actually see the console at E3. But one thing I've noticed that a lot of people aren't noticing is that at the very, very end, when the PlayStation logo is gone, and if you look right here, there's that, like, blue thing, you know, that blue, that's hinting at, like, I think the console design, an actual blue LED throughout the system. You see what I'm saying, right? It kind of put an emphasis on it. It kind of stops it right there, the logo goes away, but then it keeps pulsating. I feel like the system, you know, the actual base of the unit is going to have an LED throughout the whole thing, and that's that blue thing. Kind of like the Wii, but that was just for, like, the actual, you know, slot loading drive, but, like, you get what I'm saying, right? A blue light throughout the whole thing. I mean, obviously, I want to see what it looks like. Other people do, and Sony is generally pretty good at making sexy hardware, so, you know, let's wait till E3. Alright, let's get to the real meat and potatoes. A couple days ago, Microsoft did officially announce their next Xbox, the Xbox One, which is going to be PlayStation's biggest competitor. Now, obviously, I'm not going to cover the conference. I'm going to assume you know what's going on. If you didn't see the conference, real short, it was an hour long. The first 30 minutes was spent on TV integration, Kinect functionality, and all that, and improved Kinect, actually showing the system, the controller, and then the last 30 minutes focused on Forza Motorsport, the new game by Remedy, and the Call of Duty, and they brought up EA to talk about sports stuff. Basically, if you've been living under a rock, the internet is pretty much in a blaze right now with how the Xbox One basically had a disaster of a conference and how everyone hated it, basically. That's what everyone's saying. Now, some people wanted to know my general impressions, and obviously, as a gamer, I'm very underwhelmed. I wanted to see games, and that's not what I saw, and people are like, oh, it was a console reveal, just see the console. Point being, as a gamer, I was underwhelmed because I wanted to see games, and apparently they had promised games for E3. Now, like I said, if you have not been following it, after the conference, the journalists were allowed to basically start pressing Microsoft and asking questions about the system, and a lot of sketchy details are coming out, a lot of sketchy answers to these questions. People are asking, is it always online? Microsoft basically is saying, yes it is, or kind of not really, but it kind of is. People are saying, can you play used games? And Microsoft is confirming there is a fee to play used games. And then even more bad stuff was coming out about it. You have to install games on the hard drive. You can't upgrade the internal hard drive. Kinect functionality is basically required, is what they're saying. And now it's coming out that Microsoft's requiring a proprietary port for headphones. So if you have some very expensive headphones that just use the regular audio jack, you can no longer use those. Now, of course, all of this is really bad news. I don't see how you could see anything good out of any of this news. All we got was this TV stuff, this sports stuff, this Call of Duty stuff, all the stuff we can't do and cannot do. And people are obviously saying, oh, PS4 is going to win. But here's the thing, guys. Microsoft's very, very, very smart. Do you know what they just announced? They announced something that's going to sell like hotcakes. Now sure, gamers aren't very happy with it, but you know who is happy with it? Average consumers. That's the whole point of what Microsoft was saying and why they called it Xbox One. The one system that you need for it to do everything. The DVR, the television, the everything that a standard consumer would want. I mean, this thing's going to sell like crazy. I mean, think about your average American consumer, which we'll get into about, territories later, but think about your average American consumer. They just announced a system that has, NFL fantasy support, television support. They showed a new Call of Duty. They showed EA Sports and all these sports games, a Halo TV series. Are you serious? This system's going to sell so well to casual consumers. Despite the possibility of always online and used games, your average consumer doesn't know that stuff. They're going to log into Yahoo, see the article for it, and go, awesome, I'm totally going to buy this thing. Microsoft knows how to market, and even though they're taking a lot of missteps with the Xbox One, in my personal opinion, they're going to be able to sell this machine very easily. While it is awesome that PS4 is focusing on gamers and going for games and all that, it's not what's going to make Sony the most money, and it is what's going to make Sony not sell as many PS4s as Microsoft will sell Xbox Ones. So what does Sony need to do to really make this machine sell over the next Xbox? And this is really where Sony can take two different paths. They can either really focus on gamers like they're going to and enjoy, respectable numbers while being outsold by the Xbox One, or they can, keep their gamer-centric focus, but use a lot of their marketing to show people, hey, this isn't just a games machine, it does the exact same stuff the Xbox One does, and better. Sony is in a position right now where it's there to lose. They are definitely in a leading position, I guess, with the mind share of what system's going to be bought. But they need to use this to their advantage. Look at Microsoft's faults, take it, and send that to consumers. Use your marketing. Tell people, hey, Microsoft's not letting you do this. They're making you do that. You gotta buy this over there. We can do all the things the Xbox One does, and we don't have all these limitations. Run different marketing campaigns. Run some that tell you, hey, PlayStation 4 is the box you need for television, for Netflix, for sports, for whatever sort of multimedia uses you need that competes with the Xbox One in that sense, but also run marketing campaigns that say, hey, this is the ultimate gaming machine available. So for Sony, they need to have the best of both worlds. Sony owns 12 developers. That's way more than Microsoft. I think it's fair to say that physically, Sony is going to have more exclusive games on their platform to please gamers, While Microsoft did say they have 15 exclusives coming out for Xbox One, I'm hesitant to believe that purely because they don't own that many studios. Where are these games coming from? Sony owns 12 developers and they can't make 15 blockbuster games. And I think that's what people are thinking these Xbox One games are, that they're 15 blockbuster games. No chance. I guarantee you out of those 15 games, a good amount of those at one point or another will come to PlayStation. Look at PS3 and 360. 360 lost a lot of exclusives. Lost Planet, Saints Row, Dead Rising, Bioshock, Mass Effect, even XBLA games like Limbo, they all came to PlayStation. Microsoft doesn't own that many studios, so I'm inclined to say that Sony definitely has the edge in exclusive games. So they have gamers. They have that niche right there, but they also need to focus on the area that they are lacking, which is mass market. If they do want to sell a lot of PS4s, then they have to let people know, hey, this machine's going to have everything, not just games. So as a PlayStation fan and gamer, I am very underwhelmed at the Xbox One conference. But, I'm very optimistic. Give me E3. Show me some games. Hopefully those 15 games are awesome. I don't know. But show me something good. Like I said, I don't care what platform these games are on. I want good games. But if Sony really wants to take it home this generation, that's what they need to do. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for E3 and more games and next gen and... Man, I love playing video games, you know what I'm saying? But hey, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Panecki. Thank you for talking with me, and I'll see you next Friday.